Alright, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Nabil, and today we are going to do something a little bit different. um, Lately, I've been flying a lot of small turboprops and very small, like taxi jets. And the reason for that is because I've been saving my heavy metal flights for the VA that I joined. I joined a virtual airline, and that virtual airline is United. Um, a virtual airline, for those of you that don't know, is sort of like a flying club, only more strict. Not in a bad way, though. You join a virtual airline that it gives you sort of destinations, it gives you a thing to do. So in this case, I have joined United Virtual, which is a virtual version of United Airlines. And so what that gives me is, real flight plans. It gives me theoretically liveries, although there's not a whole lot for X-Plane to be fair. Um, and it gives me something to do and something I can use to practice and improve myself a little bit. I hate it when people say improve myself. I'm not improving myself, I'm improving my flying skills. It doesn't change who I am as a person. Anyway, um, there are a couple of things that I want to talk about before I get into this too much, though, because once I actually start the process, I need to be, uh, I guess, a bit more professional than I usually am. So, the first thing I want to mention is that when I get my pushback, as we enter the movement area, for some reason, I don't know if there's like an invisible drop off or something, but the plane's going to jump. It's just going to happen. So it doesn't hurt anything, but it looks jarring. It's fine. It's part of the sim. I can't help it. The other thing that I want to mention is that I'm probably going to use auto land because Airbus has a fantastic auto land. But I think the runways are off a little bit, or at least the ILS isn't centered on the runway. When I use auto land, it lands off to the side. At least it has every time I've done it at this airport. Um, it doesn't miss the runway, but it misses the center line. So I'm mentioning that now, so that if I use auto land and it doesn't land on the center line, I guess I don't want the people grading me to deduct points because I knew about it, but I did it on purpose because it's a function, I think, of the scenery, and I kind of want to show that I know the systems more than that I know that you're supposed to land on the center line. Obviously, I know you're supposed to. I also know that as long as you land on the runway, um, you've made it down. Center line is certainly better. It's prettier, um, but it's not going to matter a whole lot. What else do we need to talk about? Why would you join a virtual airline? Because they give you a lot of really interesting things. They have tons of really well-made documentation that describes how to do a lot of the things that I'm going to try to go over during this video for this check ride. What else? They give you a lot of tools, ways to plan flights, things to fly between. They give you a reason to actually be in the sim as opposed to just, I wanted to get in there and fuck around a bit. So, all of that being said, at this point, I should probably begin the process of actually starting this. Here we go. Oh, and you know what else I need to do? So one thing they need to see is that we have um, at least 2 hours of fuel. So in this airplane, according to the fantastic flight plan that they gave me, and I'm probably going to show it in the video, maybe around here at some point, that 2 hours of fuel equates to 18,250 pounds. Excuse me. Uh, 17,550 pounds. And an Airbus, being a French plane, everything runs in kilograms. So I've done the conversion, and that 17,550 pounds of fuel is 8,000 kilograms. And you'll see here that I have us fueled to 8,000 kilograms. So I'm going to dismiss the fuel truck, but I want to show that here and now. Dismiss the fuel truck. And it's going to drive away through the building. The next thing I'm going to do is minimize this so that I can take a picture. There we go. Because I will need a title screen. The other thing, actually, that's in this briefing are V-speeds. And that's the other thing I should probably show, and I'll do it from the outside because I can. So, they think that you should have at least a 50% load, and I'm flying with close to a 80% load. So, this is everything I have on the plane: 12 first class passengers, 95 second class passengers or coach. Second class sounds terrible. And then almost 8 tons of cargo. So that is more than the required 31,990 pounds of payload. And the reason that that is important is because it means that the V speeds that they gave me are going to be wrong in the flight plan they gave me in the brief. They have V1 at 133, VR at 138, and V2 at 140. And when we get to that point, you'll see that they're off by about 8 knots. Alright, so we'll close that, close this, close that, and hop into the cockpit. And at this point, I'm going to be at least a little bit more professional. So we're going through, this has a couple of sets of checklists. I have a paper checklist on one computer, and then there's the one in the game that sort of misses or catches the stuff that the paper one leaves out. So engine igniters are off, that's these two. Engine power mode is normal, or engine mode selector, excuse me, is normal. Ground power is on, and that's from this menu. External power is on. APU fire test. Tested. Okay, so I'm going to brake here, and I'm actually going to do the flight brief. You know what? I can't do the flight brief because I don't have the V-speeds, so I'm not going to do it now. I'll just keep doing it with the checklist. So APU. Let's see, going back to where we just were to make sure we don't miss anything. APU fire test. There we go. APU master switch is on. Start is on. And if we come down here, we should see the APU fire up in just a moment. And the generator is already on, and we're going to watch for the volts from that thing to be between 110 and 116. Let's see, once the APU gets going, this will jump up to about 115, and that's what we're looking for. And now I'm going to find out that I had my mic muted or something. Nope. Okay, good. So there we go, 113, and that is between 110 and 116. Fantastic. External power we will turn off. Excuse me. And then we're going to go ahead and get rid of the ground truck. That's gone. Okay. Next thing, ground power off. Overhead lights. Overhead lights are here on this one. And now we can see the overhead. Next set of lights, the pedestal and floor lights. Those are here. Pedestal and floor lights. There we go. Parking brake is engaged. Fantastic. Electric pump. These are all off. Check. Let's see. Parking brake off. And the reason we're doing this is to check the brake pressure, which is this gauge right here. There you go. There is pressure. More pressure. Parking brake on.
Park brake on.
Electric pumps on. Maybe they actually mean this one, not the fuel pumps. So I want to turn those back off. They mean this one. Alright. Where were we? Electric pump. APU bleed on. I'm kind of embarrassed that I made that mistake on a recording for a check flight, but I'll survive. Air conditioning, no white lights. Air conditioning is here, and we have some white lights. There we go, no white lights. Oh, and I'm going to go ahead and set these temperatures, because if I don't, they will complain a lot. There we go. APU bleed is on. Air conditioning, no white lights. Cross bleed auto. That's here. Fantastic. Cockpit preparation before start. So we need to put the aiders into STS mode. 1. There we go. Aiders 1 in nav. There we go. Wait for the on battery light to turn off. And then aiders 2. Same thing. Wait for the on battery light to turn off. Aiders 3. Wait for the on battery light to turn off. And press enter. There we go. Strobe will go to auto. It's also worth mentioning that at one point here it's going to complain that we don't have the beacon on when we use the other checklist. I'm aware of it, but this checklist says that it doesn't go on yet, so I'm going to follow the checklist. Seatbelts on. No smoking sign on. Emergency lights armed. Landing elevation set to auto. That's the cabin pressure right here. Engine 1 and 2 fire test. 1, 2. Let's see, radio on. That's down here. There we go. Where was I? Radio on, FMC, init. Okay, this is where it gets interesting. It. Okay, from KIAD, KIAD, oop, align IRS, that's fine. Flight number, geez, you're moving. We're going to be UAL 9999. Cost index will be 50, that's fine. Cruise altitude, and this is going to screw the plane up. It's going to bitch. 060. It seems to think that I want to fly at 60,000 feet, but it's not. And then page 2, 0 fuel weight, there we go, and you will see that we have lots of flying time. So, and of course we don't have enough time to get to 60,000 feet because that is too high, but otherwise this error wouldn't be here. So we'll go ahead and clear that. Okay, and you will see that again, if you add all of these numbers up, we come to 8,000 kilograms, which is 2 hours of fuel. Now let's go to performance, and the first thing I'm going to do is change the flaps. So the airplane likes flaps 2, United policy is 1, and it takes off just fine with 1. So we're going to say first notch of flaps, and we're going to trim up 2.0 on the elevator. Not going to worry about the flex, I don't want to get the calculator out, and we're going to run our V-speeds, and you will see that these are much higher. So again, because the plane is just heavier than what their flight planner told me to use, they had V1 at 133, VR at 138, and V2 at 140. Here, V1 is 140, VR is 145, and V2 is 161. So it's just worth mentioning that that will be a thing. Now, because I'm looking at V2 and it keeps coming up, I'm going to go ahead and put it in here for my speed. 161, was that it? So that I don't remember, or I don't forget. There we go, 161. And now the next thing that we need to do, we've gone to performance. That all looks good. I think I'm happy. Now that I have that information, actually, I can do the flight brief, which is the other thing that they expect us to do. So we're going to jump to the outside because I don't have actual paperwork for this. First thing we're going to talk about is the airplane details. This is an A320neo, even though it doesn't have neo engines on it. The N number is N475 Uniform Alpha, and it is the United Friendship. I love this plane, I love this livery. I don't know about the airworthiness certificate because it's a virtual plane, but that's fine. The dispatch release and number, actually this doesn't have release, although the number, like I said, I was going to use UAL 9999 because that I don't think is in use. Weather, because this is a check flight, I am required to do it with no weather, so it is clear, it is sunny, there is no wind, it is beautiful. The notices to airmen, the NOTAMs, there are none that affect our taxi and departure, our routing. So if we pull up the map real quick, you will see that we are at Delta 10. We are going to come east, then we are going to take taxiway. I have written down Kilo, so Kilo is the one closest to the runway. Come down to Kilo, then we are going to take Juliet 1, which is this little sort of sliver over here, and then we will take off on runway 19 left. There's the map. Runway in use is 19 left. The conditions are clean and awesome. It is dry. There is no FOD, there is no ice, there is no snow. There is no wind shear. We will not be doing a D-rated takeoff because we don't need to, and because I didn't want to get out the flex calculator. Let's see, there is no intersection. This probably won't be full length either. Rejected takeoffs. So, in the event of a rejected takeoff, if it is before V1, we're just going to brake. We just will abort the takeoff, and we'll be good. If it is above V1, then we are committed, and we are going to do basically the flight we were going to do anyway. We are going to take off. We'll maybe climb a bit slower to 6,000 feet. And then we'll come back around and land, because this plane can do that, it has the power, and after V1 it's not like you're landing anyway. Takeoff flap settings and V-speeds. The takeoff flap settings is flap 1, our V-speeds are, and this is why I had to wait till now, V1 is 140, VR is 145, V2 is 161. Let's see, ATC clearance. We are not flying with ATC, so that does not matter. We're also, although I might mention some of the like hold short lines and stuff, we're going to ignore those. Initial cleared altitude doesn't really matter. For this flight, we're going to climb to 6,000 feet. We don't have to worry about transition altitude. We don't have to worry about the departure frequency. Our transponder code, I'm going to use, I think I've got 1162 in there, and that's probably what I'll use. Terrain and obstacle considerations, there are none. Engine failure procedure and turn procedure. If an engine fails, we are going to just continue the flight because we aren't crossing country, and we're going to end up at the closest the closest real airport, which is this one. We do not have an alternate because we will never be more than like 25 miles away from this. Or from IAD. Any other special or unusual conditions? Let's talk about the flight plan here because it is special and unusual. We are going to take off on runway 19 left. We're going to climb to 6,000 feet. And once we get to 6,000 feet, we're going to come right to 280. Once we get out a little ways on 280, we're going to come right to 010. We're going to fly about 20 miles past the airport. And then once we've done that, we're going to come right to 100. And once we intercept the 175 radial from AML, we're going to come to 140. That should get us on a nice intercept for the ILS. And then I'm probably going to use Autoland because I like it. So that is that for the brief, and that brings us back to the checklist, which, let's see, where were we? We did all of the performance stuff, did all of that, QNH, autopilot. Alright, so we are now, oh, you know what, I'm going to set my initial altitude as well, so that I don't have to worry about it later. Okay. always seems weird to me that on Airbus, I can't actually set that yet. I have to wait till I'm in the air, and then I can. But the runway heading is 191. That's 184. There we go. 191. And the QNH here. Let's go ahead and get that. I'm skipping around a little bit before I head back. 3042. Okay. And now we are ready for our next checklist. Checklist.
Before start checklist. Cockpit preparation completed. Gear pins and covers removed. Signs on. ADIRS. Nav mode. Fuel quantity in kilo 07979. Takeoff data set. Barrow reference. It is not okay, sir. It is not set.
And they really just want you
Barrow
to move
reference
this a little
set.
bit.
Windows, doors closed. Beacon. It is not okay, sir. It is not on.
See, and this is where I said that they yell at you, even though it comes in a different
Beacon on.
checklist.
Throttle levers idle. Parking brake on. Checklist completed.
Alright, so now let's go ahead and do our pushback. So we will call the tow truck. I like to do this from the outside. Because in real life, it's not like I would be doing much anyway, right? Where's the... There's the tug. The tow. Alright, I need to turn the... Let's see, where was I? I did the before start checklist. Call tow. Nose wheel steering off. Click go.
Park brake off.
We're going to swing the nose around to the right, tail to the left, nose to the right. Yep. Let's do that. And there's that bump that I was talking about. Don't know what causes it, but it's terrifying, I guess. And there we go. Straighten it out. And goodbye, tow.
Park brake on.
So before I go any further, we are before start. So I'm going to take some screenshots because they really care about those. The first thing I need to do, though, is...
Flaps 0.
one.
Flaps 0. Spoilers half. Spoilers arm. Flaps 0.
Is there a reason you're not letting me
Flaps
set the
0.
flaps?
Flaps 0.
That's weird. I guess I've never tried to do it before starting the engine before. Let's see. There we go. Takeoff config. Oh, I have to clear. Nose wheel steering is on. It's on. You're supposed to clear now. Clear. There we go. Okay. Where were we? Beacon on. Before start checklist. Nose wheel steer. Okay. Engine start. There we go. So, first step. Engine mode selector to start. Fuel pumps all on. One. That is all of the fuel pumps. Start engine 1, then engine 2.
Starting engine 1.
We're going to watch the engine, and when N2 gets to 20% on both, we will change the mode selector from start to normal. There's 20 on that one.
Starting engine 2.
7, 8, 9, 10. Engine flex temperature not sent. I know. And there we go. Above 20. Normal. There we go. APU bleed off. Packs 1 and 2 on, and they are. APU master off. Although, if I turn the APU master off, then the after start checklist will complain.
After start checklist. Anti-ice, as required. ECAM status, checked. Pitch trim, 2, decimal, 0, up. Rudder trim, 0. APU, set on. Ground crew, clear. Anti-skid and nose wheel steering, on. Checklist completed. Spoilers disarm. Spoilers arm. Flaps 1.
There we go. So I do have to have the engine started. And then auto brake is max. There we go. Takeoff config is good. So let's first do our flight control check, which means go ahead and flight controls. There we go. I like to watch this.
Flight control check. Full up. Check. Full down. Check. Neutral. Check. Full left. Check. Full right. Check. Neutral. Check. Press pedals disconnect push button. Check. Pedal full left. Check. Pedal full right. Check. Neutral. Check. Press pedals disconnect push button. Check. Checklist completed.
There we go. And now the other thing I want to check before we begin our taxi is, there we go, 1162. We are in auto and altitude. Standby. Okay, there we go. And then we'll do RA afterwards, but auto is basically good. We're good at this point. Okay. So now we can begin taxiing. Turn off the
Park brake off.
And we will move into the movement area. Make sure there's no one coming. All green there is good. That was a step that there's a conflict between these two checklists. Right, and now taxi lights. Nose light to taxi. Let's see. Weather STS2 on. Bit less keys than that. Spoilers are armed. Right. Seems like it takes forever to taxi in this. And it's not actually that bad, it just feels like it takes forever. And while we are taxiing slowly, just to verify, flaps 1, spoilers armed, parking brake off, engine and all that jazz running. We're going to taxi all the way down to the end, and that is Kilo. A little bit of toe brake. And then we will turn on to Kilo. Hear the things rattling in the airplane. I love it. I don't like that they're rattling, I just love the sounds. I'll need to fix that, but not during a turn. Pretty close. I'll get it better when I get on the runway. And before my computer falls asleep completely, let's take a look at this. During taxi, auto brakes max, I've already completed that. Approaching the holding point. We're not quite there yet.
Before takeoff checklist. Flight controls, checked. Flight instruments, checked. Briefing, confirmed. Flap settings config. Flaps 1, V1, 1, 4, 0. V rotate, 1, 4, 5. V2, 1, 6, 1. Flex temperature, 0. ATC, set. ECAM memo, no blue. Checklist down to the line completed. If you're ready to continue below the line, click it again.
I'm not ready to continue below the line because I want to do that when I get up to the hold short line. Or the holding line, not the hold short line. Oh. I hate taxiing. It's by far the thing I suck at the most, and I dislike it in general. Let's see, in the briefing I said we were going to take Juliet 1, so that is all the way down at the end. We'll get there eventually. Come on, back on the line. And this is one over there, and we're going to slow down. Take this corner. And we've got a couple of things we need to do at the hold short line. Which is that blinking thing in front of us. Really wanted it to be ostentatious. Alright. And brake. Put on the parking brake.
Park brake on.
Okay, so the next set of things that I need to worry about on my checklists are... First of all, where's my checklist? There it is. Landing lights on. Take off, or nose light to take off. Squawk C, I believe, is there. Yep. Well, we don't need to ident. And then the jar.
Cabin
Below the
crew
line.
advised. Engine mode selector. Set normal as wearer required. Pax. It is not okay, sir. It is not. Set off. Course of APU bleed. Set off. Course of APU bleed. Checklist below the line completed.
Alright, so this thinks we are ready, but I have a little bit more I want to do. Namely, what was it? There was something down here I wanted to do. Oh yes, it was down here at McDo. Radio navigation. So the first thing, once I get to 6,000 feet, I'm going to come right to 280. And I'm going to stay there until I cross the 235. Which I'm okay with. And I can eyeball that one. There's a bug for the radio nav here, and what I think is that I can only sort of pick one ILS to look at. I can only pick one radial, and so I'm going to keep the 175 radial, which is the one I've got here. So 175. Dupe, manual tune. Alright. Actually, you know what? Maybe it'll work for me this time. If not, I already know how far I need to go. So the 235 radial. 235 Badoop. And then this is going to go to VOR. Mode change is good. Okay. That should be 191. There we go. So now I need to take screenshots of everything. So, there. Go. And then particularly down here. And then one, oh, there. One of sort of as much as we can. There we go. I believe that is the only mandatory screenshot. So let's go ahead and get rid
Park
of the
brake
parking
off.
brake. So we're going to climb at about 15 degrees. Because this plane is... so my V2 is... I'm going to try to climb at about 180 to 190 knots, which is my V2 plus 20 to 30 knots. But it's just not going to work, I don't think. This plane, I don't know if it's a peculiarity of the jar design or what, but it likes to climb a bit faster than that. And United prefers rolling takeoff, so we're going to slowly throttle up. Airbus likes us to be at 50 for a little bit, and then go to takeoff. And there's Toga. Alright.
100 knots.
Give me V1. We're almost there.
V1. Rotate.
There we go. Up to...
Positive climb.
There we go. Positive rate.
Speed checked.
Nope.
Flaps
Nope,
0.
I don't want flaps,
Speed
I want
checked.
gear.
Flaps 1. Gear up.
There we go. And we've passed 130. So I'm going to go ahead and nose us back down. Throttle lever to climb. There we go, and we are climbing at this point. I'm going to go ahead and use the heading bug 191, and I'm going to hit autopilot.
Autopilot 1, cross-check.
And I'm going to tell it that we want, you know what, auto speed. This will climb us at 250 knots. Well, I pay attention to the after takeoff checklist.
After takeoff checklist. Landing gear, up. Flaps. It is not okay, sir. It is not. Retracted. Flaps. Retracted. Packs. It is not okay, sir. It is not. On. Speed is not okay for next flaps position. Speed checked. Flaps 0.
Flap 0, there we go. Packs on.
Packs on. Checklist down to the line completed. If you're ready to continue below the line, click it again.
We can't go below the line, so we won't worry about it. And we'll stow that. And at this point, we will begin climbing up to 6,000 feet. And... not begin, but we're there. Alright, 6,000. We're going to turn right to 280. It's going to get there as quickly as it can. I love this airplane. I don't know why I just tried to use my flaps button to raise my gear. Now, for at least a year now, I've been using... Oh, and we're approaching 6,000 feet. And I'm going to come right to 280. 280. Now, like I was saying, for years... Come on, there we go. 280. I just want you to be more precise than that, okay? There we go. So for years now, I've been using the G button on my keyboard for gear, and I've been using, which is right there, by the way, and I've been using the toggles on the bottom for flaps. And today, because I'm trying to be graded on something, I instead decided to spaz out and do the wrong thing completely, and tried to use my flaps. See, so this says that I'm already crossing the 235 radial on that. That doesn't seem right to me, you know? As I sort of turn around it. Oh, you know what? That's not what that means at all. That said, it is going to jump in a moment. About 10 miles south. You know what? I'm not going to use the map. Holding at 250 knots. Excuse me, I'm tired. I have a ways to go before I get there. Windy. But since this hasn't even begun to start moving yet, may as well go take the outside screenshot that I'm going to want for... I love this plane. I think that means I've crossed it. So after 280, we are going to come right to 010. This is where I think things went wrong last time. 0, 0. And... how long are we going to be at 010? Parallel to the runway, on the downwind. Let's see, take a look at the chart. I've already looked at the chart, and I've already got the the nav one, or the ILS frequency is set for nav, or set for ILS, blah. Words 25 nautical miles north, or when crossing the 340 radial. So let's start by setting the 340 radial. There. It'll be a pretty long time before we get there. We're going to be 25 nautical miles northwest, and so this will be different. And it should decrease, excuse me, it should decrease for a while, then increase. You have to excuse my yawn. Like I said, this is my third attempt at it, and it's been a long day. And it is 11 p.m., which is way past my normal bedtime. As we come abeam with the airport, which, can I change him without changing me? Nope. AID is over here. That's that pretty snowflake. Possibly even easier way to do it is when this number no longer is decreasing, but instead increases, then I'm going to, because at that point I will be, instead of getting closer to the airport, I'll be getting further away from it. At that point, I will begin decelerating from 250 to 210. Although I don't really need to. This thing will do it all automatically, but the FRA would like me to, and so I will. Excuse me. 12.5. Six. At that point, or this point, I should be fully past it. And a quick look out the window. There it is. The VOR is actually in front of it. So now, what did I say I was going to do? I said I was going to slow down to 210. So 210 knots. Let's see. See, this VOR isn't moving at all. That concerns me. It's supposed to. What to do is be in manual mode. But if that doesn't work, then I will just fly until I get to 25 nautical miles before I fly beyond 25 nautical miles. So I'll do it at 24 nautical miles. But this will be a good time to take a look at my landing performance. So performance, phase, next phase, approach, QNH is still 3042. 30.42. Badoop. Temperature is still 11. Wind is 0/0. Go. Approach, it thinks is 145, and that is how we will approach. We are 16 nautical miles away from the VOR. Radio nav. Annual tune. It's green. wish it would tell me sort of where I actually was. Maybe this is going to act like a ADF, and when it gets to here, I turn? I don't know. Is it moving? Yeah, it is. Okay. So then the documentation is either wrong or I misread it. But that works for me. I can handle that. And then the localizer here is 110.0, and if I go to VOR ILS 110.0, fantastic. And let me open up the other thing. Checklist, approach. We are about to turn here. Oh, wrong manual, wrong manual. Wrong manual. Where is the one I want? Oh, jeez. I was still on it. Alright, so where are we? We're getting there. Alright. So when I hit the 340 radial, I'm going to turn right onto 100, and then I'm actually going to activate the approach mode, which will do most of the slowing down and stuff. It says I'm beyond that 25 nautical miles, or at least far enough that I can't see the thing, but this tells me when I'm crossing the 340 radial, which, there we are. So I'm going to come right to, there we go. And now I need to go to performance, approach.
Approach phase activated.
Activated. And now I'm going to go to flaps 1 because I have a whole lot of more wiggle room there.
Speed checked. Flaps 1.
And I've put it in auto speed mode because I plan on doing a auto land. Alright, now I'm going to set the radial to 17, so radio nav 175 as I cross the inbound 175. Shucks, 175 will be there. If I cross that, it'll turn right onto 140. And the other thing I want to make sure that I do is approach mode here, AP2, and then ILS. The airplane thinks I should go faster, so I will. And a lot of things are going to
Approach
happen real
checklist.
fast.
Briefings confirmed. ECAM status checked. Seatbelts on. Bayroset 3042. Decision height 200.
Right.
Engine mode selector.
Approach
Set
mode.
normal as where required. Auto brake. It is not okay, sir. It is not set.
ILS, auto brake to maximum.
Auto brake set. Checklist completed.
They want us to come to 140. past the 175, which I have. There we go. It appears the ILS is alive. And I'm going to go ahead and go to flaps 2.
Speed is not okay for next flaps position.
Is it
Speed
not?
checked.
Why is it
Flaps
not?
0.
Missing ILS. There we go. Oh, there goes the speed. I knew I was forgetting something.
Autopilot 2. Cross check.
And gear down as we cross
Gear down.
220. There we go. We're good there. I feel like I'm good for flaps 2 now.
Speed checked. Flaps
Yep.
1.
There we go. It's the green line. Flaps 1. Oh. Well, I guess I'm glad I have an answer. Did I get so far away that I'm not in the ILS anymore? I mean, I can see this, and that should be enough. Oh wait, there it is. There we go. Good.
Speed is not okay for next flaps position.
There we go. Now that it got now that we're actually on the localizer, it is doing everything I want it to do. And then I'm gonna set our go-around altitude. Climb 800 feet, and then a sweeping or climbing left-hand turn to 3,000. So I'm gonna set this to actually, I'm not going to do that until after we start sending. Which it still doesn't want us to do yet. That seems weird to me. Can I go flaps 2 yet?
Speed checked. Flaps 2.
Yep. I can.
Landing checklist. Cabin crew. Advised. Auto throttle mode. Speed. ECAM memo. It is not okay, sir. It is not. No blue.
I don't see the blue. But it's because I don't have my flaps all the way down yet. And there we go. This passes. And we begin descending. And our flaps are not full yet, you'll see. We are at flaps 2. Alright, we've begun descending.
Speed checked. Flaps 3.
Flaps 3. And there is, I think, the runway, way the hell over there. So I can go ahead and
Speed checked. Flaps
full
full.
flaps. There we go. And I don't have much more else to do. Altitude is set to basically nothing. Approach, ILS mode is on. Autopilot 1 and 2. Oh, let's try this
Barrow
again.
reference. It is not okay, sir. It is not. Standard Barrow set.
It's not supposed to be standard Barrow.
Barrow reference. Standard Barrow set. Checklist below the line completed.
at 145, which, as we saw before, was VREF. We are lined up on the runway. That is certainly the leftmost runway. And we are certainly pointing at 191, so that is it. Looks weird when you're coming from the other side. This is Kilo, the taxiway we came down. Alright. So now we wait. Everything is nice and chill. And we're going to go ahead and look over everything one more time. Spoilers are armed. Flaps are all the way. Parking brake is off. Auto brake is set to medium. That's probably fine. Brake fans should be on. In fact, where is that other checklist? There we go. Approach. Let's see. Descent. No. On final. Brake fans on. Spoiler armed. Auto brake is required, but usually medium, which is set. Landing checklist, which we've already gone through. Let's see, autopilots 1, 2, and auto throttle, and that should be automatic landing mode. It concerns me a great deal, though, that it's not telling me that I've selected my go-around altitude.
2,500.
It does say localizer, it does say ILS, it does say ILS. It does not say auto land. Oh geez, it seems to have fallen out of auto land mode, so I am going to
Radio
manually
altimeter
land it.
alive. ECAM memo. No blue. Go around altitude. Set. Checklist completed.
Nice. Good job. I think we can still recover this.
Autopilot 1, cross-check. Autopilot 2, cross-check.
Approach
Autopilot
mode.
1, cross-check. Autopilot 2, cross-check.
There we go. Although we're kind of low. We were 2 dots low. What the hell caused that? I didn't change the vertical speed. That said, I think we're okay. Still pretty pitchy, but... And there's a fucking balloon in the way. I don't want to re-record this. So many times. We are not in autoland mode. I find that very interesting.
Go around altitude set.
There we go. Actually, it should be... There we go.
Go around altitude set.
But we're still not in autoland mode, so I am going to have to do this manually. This should say autoland.
1,000.
I honestly don't know why we're not in autoland. That's the part that bugs me the most, I think. Oh well. It will get us, excuse me, damn close. And we were, I think we were outside of the final approach fix while that was going on, which means I don't need to worry too much about the fact that I screwed everything up. And
500.
we certainly are nice. This is a good, steady approach.
400.
Land green checked.
Oh. We are actually in auto land mode, so I'm not going to touch a damn thing.
300.
100 above.
Man, I want to take a
Minimum.
screenshot, but I'm not going to. Auto land mode. See, and like I said, it lands you off to the left, and I think it's because the
100.
ILS here doesn't match the runway. Now, if you, and I could
50.
sort of
40,
reverse the video,
30, 20.
but all of the wheels are actually on the runway,
Retard.
or on the
Retard.
rumble strip.
Retard. Retard.
Ground
Retard.
spoilers. Decel.
Retard. Retard. Retard.
Alright.
Retard.
And-
Retard.
Reverse green. Reverse green. Reverse green. 70 knots.
There we go.
Flaps
Flaps
2.
up.
Flaps 0.
And we're going to go ahead and checklist after landing.
After landing checklist. Flaps. Retracted. Spoilers. It is not okay, sir. It is not disarmed. Flaps 1.
Oh, that's the wrong way. There we go. You should not have stopped. Oh, that's right. If you don't friggin' hit the tail or the toe brakes, it will. Oh, slow down. Why are you not listening to me?
After landing checklist. Flaps. It is not okay, sir. It is not retracted. Flaps. Retracted. Spoilers. It is not okay, sir. It is not disarmed. Flaps 0. Spoilers. Disarmed. APU. It is not okay, sir. It is not start. Spoilers arm.
And now my brakes aren't paying attention. God damn. APU is, what did he say, on?
APU. Start. Radar. It is not okay, sir. It is not off.
I know it's not off yet. I'm working on it.
Radar. Off. Strobe lights.
Slow
off.
down.
Checklist completed.
Why is auto throttle is on? That's why. Why is the throttle so high? Well, idiot, it's because you forgot to turn it off. And it isn't on the checklist, so you didn't do it. That would explain an awful lot, though. Oh. Let's take a look back at the gate, because they have some specific requirements when I get there. Approach, landing. Toe brakes, taxiing to the gate. At CD. And let's do this thing. I don't know. Do I want to do that or not? Do I want to send that to people? I believe C and D are technically in the middle here. I think it's like A, B, C, D or something. I don't know. D. It's a real pity plane. Interestingly, it didn't tell me to turn off my landing lights, even though I've landed, and theoretically should have taxi lights. And this should actually be on taxi, I think, too. Ugh. Excuse me. I would love to park next to that 747. think I will. Once I get out of this movement area. I want to just pull into a gate over here. I think I'm going to just pull into a gate over here. Slow down. Brakes. Parking
Park brake on.
Alright.
Parking checklist. APU bleed. It is not okay, sir. It is not on. APU bleed. On. Engines. It is not okay, sir. It is not off. Engines. Off. Seatbelts. It is not okay, sir. It is not off. Seatbelts. Off. External lights. It is not okay, sir. It is not off. External lights. Off. Fuel pumps. It is not okay, sir. It is not off. Fuel pumps. Off. Park brake and chocks. On. Checklist completed.
Alright. That's that one. Let's see if there's another one here. Taxi. Shut down. Okay, so that is that. Let's see. I needed a marshal because I didn't go far enough. It's hard to gauge. If I had auto gate turned on, then you know there's actually a thing that shows you, and that's awesome. But I don't. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. To the gentleman scoring this, I hope I passed, and if I didn't, I would be certainly interested in hearing your critique. So thank you very much, and I hope you all. I hope watching this didn't make you any stupider. Not necessarily the people grading. You're not stupid. But this was not. Maybe I'm too tired. I don't know. Anyway, have a good evening, folks. Thanks.